accounts for a fifth of the cancer deaths across the world. We have the highest rates of cervical, gallbladder, oral cancer in the world. Cancer is now one of the top causes of death in the country after heart attacks, up from 7th position in 2000. Cancer survival in India is only 30% because of late detection. In other words, 70% of the lives in India are lost in that crucial first year because of late detection. And 71% of the deaths occur in the productive age group of 38 to 69. We can throw all these figures and we can have all the discussions that we can have. These figures are not meant to be alarmist. They're, I think, meant to emphasize the challenge that we as a people, as a medical community, as patients face today. The worst thing that we could do is stigmatize cancer patients. The best thing we could do is what is being done today by Dabur and India Today Women, which is to salute, which is to embrace, which is to try and showcase survivors and crusaders who've shown the courage to fight and win this battle against cancer.
चेहरे पे नहीं दिल में होती है तेरी जिंदगी सीपी में छुपा अनमोल मोती है खूबसूरती चेहरे पे नहीं दिल में होती सीपी में छुपा अनमोल मोती है लकीरों के बदले तूने उसूल लकीरों के बदले तूने उसूल तू फौलाद है तू है
I'm going to ask each of you first to maybe share something which you believe has been the most significant aspect of this fight against cancer that three of you in a way have in common. And then I'll come to you, Mr. Chutani, to ask you what made you choose this theme. But why don't you start there, Ritu, with what is it in that period when you first detected cancer to your desire to conquer it? Any one moment or incident that stands out for you where you felt that, where your bravery or your beauty came out in a way?
Firstly, thanks a lot for the beautiful campaign here. And when I was first detected way back in September 2000, I didn't take it like something very, very disastrous. I called it as my adventure with breast cancer. I have been an adventurer in my life before, and I have been a mountaineer and a paratrooper and all that stuff. So for me, cancer was just another adventure, except that I had not volunteered for it.
That's wonderfully put. So you saw it as an adventure. You saw it as yet another sort of almost like a mountain that you had to climb.
Yes. And with all its factors of anxiety and all, everything was there. Only thing I had decided that I will get through it, and I just took it like any other disease, except something which just went on for a little longer and longer and longer and a couple of months more like that.
Yasmin, did you see it as an adventure?
I saw it as a situation to celebrate victories and to reach certain goals, because it gave me a chance to overcome certain issues that I had, and I had a very rare type. They told me that I'm in the wrong category. It doesn't happen to females, and it happens over the age of 65 to men. So it was very different urinary bladder cancer for me. So at that time they said that, oh, 95% survival cases, this is nothing and all that. So I said I will never be in that 5%. I am in the 95% and it's gone, it's over. So I took it as a chance to celebrate each chit that I got every 2 months that I was clear. So I lived life. I went diving. I did all the things that I wasn't doing to celebrate each victory. So all the things that I couldn't do, trying to find myself. I went to Kailash Mansarovar on my own. That was a huge thing for me. So I did paragliding, P1, P2, and that's where I saw it as a chance to live life totally, and it gave me a new life, better life, and a better person.
But you very visibly chose to go public with it, much like Yuvraj Singh, the cricketer, did, and decided that you were going to make this, in a sense, a symbol of what is possible, of courage. Was that easy? When you first decided to go public with it, as someone who was in an industry as open and out there as modeling and films?
Yeah, I'm in an industry that is so, in that sense, such an emphasis on looks and appearances. It was definitely not easy, but neither did I calculate this. I didn't count on getting cancer, and then I didn't exactly even have any preset coping mechanisms or an agenda. So when I actually started writing about it, it was because I was getting a lot of mixed signals from people around me, and, you know, all well-wishers, but saying, listen, shh, you should hide it. You know, just go underground, come out after hopefully 6 months, hopefully you'll still be around, and we'll pretend it never happened. And I was finding it really, really hard to reconcile myself to that, because I thought, first of all, well, what have I done wrong? You know, and why is there such a taboo about talking about cancer, particularly for someone in my industry, but of course it extends beyond that. So I think that my real turning point was when it was a combination of things. I was invited to walk the red carpet at the Toronto International Film Festival, and I was already about 2 months into my treatment, and I was taking really heavy steroids, so I had become pleasantly plump. Let's put it that way. I gained literally about 40 pounds, and I actually thought I looked quite okay. But, you know, of course, I had a decision to make, and very quickly, either I would appear on the red carpet and, you know, lie perhaps about my appearance, or hide, not appear on the red carpet, or the third option was to actually hijack the moment, to appear on that red carpet and finally use that moment, leverage that moment in front of the media to finally talk about something that was important to me, as opposed to always talking about someone else's project. And that's what I did. It wasn't exactly premeditated, because if I had thought it through, maybe I would have backed out. But I literally sort of seized the moment, carpe diem, because that is certainly something that cancer taught me to do very, very quickly.
And the reaction to that?
Was fantastic. It was overwhelming. It was a tsunami of support. And, you know, for me, it was also a great, you know, what cancer did for me. And it was so wonderful to hear also these two wonderful women say it, because I never thought about giving up. That's one thing. I can't explain to you exactly where that message from another place came from, that, listen, it's not going to be easy, but you're going to get through it. So it wasn't an issue of ever giving up or I'm not going to get through it, even though the statistics were stacked against me. So to an extent, my stubbornness basically helped, because everything that the doctors told me was not encouraging. The first thing they said was, don't Google it.
Don't Google it. Okay, so.
And of course, what did I do? I went home and I Googled it. And basically, if I had been diagnosed about 10 years before I was diagnosed, I would have been given 1 to 2 years to live. So, you know, that also had me thinking, because within 10 years, because of awareness building research, new drug modalities and treatment, my life had already been extended by 10 years, although what I've been diagnosed with is technically incurable, although I've been working on a special muscle, and that's called faith.
A special muscle called faith. So it's from adventure to the muscle called faith. You know, I found that interesting that you're saying that, because, you know, you also said that you brought out this campaign on social media.
Yes.
And apparently you said within 1 week you had 5 million hits on social media. So there was obviously a huge interest.
Absolutely.
And at any stage, was there any negative, did you ever get negative feedback, or was it out there supporting the idea that you'd taken up something which was an edgy subject?
I would, if I were to put a percentage of positive remarks, I think it was 99.99998% positive and about 0.0002% negative, which were by the public rejected to the person who was giving a negative comment. So that was seriously so amazing as a response. We started as a campaign, but it became almost like a crusade.
You know, women in particular in this country have been seen to be vulnerable to cancer, breast cancer in particular. And, you know, for a woman in our society, given the gender biases that still exist out there, it could
really?
They do. Oh yeah, we are unfortunately, we're still, India 2015 is still not as gender equal as it should be. But was it tougher as a woman, is what I've often wondered, to take on cancer, to beat cancer?
I didn't see the gender part in the cancer part, but yes, at times you see pity in the eyes of people, especially when you're with a scarf. When you're bald, you've gone to Tirupati, so it's fine, or you're a sannyasi on leave, or something like that is more accepted. So when you're with a scarf, that's when I stopped hiding or thinking about hiding under scarves and wigs.
So you didn't wear the bandana, you abandoned the bandana?
Never.
That's great.
I shaved my head before my chemotherapy started.
Fantastic.
So I didn't want to see my hair fall. And for people to accept us outside, not to be normal, not to hide under wigs and scarves, because when I used to go to hospital, everyone would hide. Everyone would be under, wigs and scarves and cringing, especially the women, because when I used to go to Tata Medical. And it was so sad. That was the reason why I shaved my head before chemo. I didn't want to be like them, and nor did I want them to be like that.
Dr. Ritu, acceptance of getting people around you. For you it was an adventure. Was it easy to get others around you to accept that they were part of this adventure of yours?
I ensured they were, but initially there was a lot of like parents saying, why you want to tell people? And why don't you wear a wig? I actually flaunted my baldness. I never invested in a wig. I never wore a scarf. I went playing dandiya with it, and people would look at it. And if my cousins will get ready, dress up, how Navratri is in Maharashtra and all. And I would tell them, nobody is going to look at you today, so you don't have to waste time, getting ready and beautifying yourself. Because everybody is just going to look at me, and that's how I flaunted.
And the people around you began to slowly accept that?
Yes. They, in fact, a lot of people went for their checkup. Just because they suddenly realized that, oh, she's diagnosed of this thing. And my parents did tell me that, why you want to tell people. But I said, there is nothing for me to feel ashamed about. All said and done, the stigma still is there. And the fear is still there. I think the fear is more, and that's why the stigma is coming.
Was there fear? Does fear come before the stigmatization? Did you feel at any stage fearful?
Yeah, of course I felt fearful, but, it's sort of a cliche for a reason that the fear never goes away, but you continue in spite of it. The interesting thing about being diagnosed is literally overnight, everything that is non-essential in your life drops away. And you only concentrate on what's essential. And a lot of our fears, actually, you start recognizing are actually quite petty. So those, I'm talking about little everyday fears. The big fear of death, of mortality, yeah, that's there, but life is Leela, life is an adventure. I completely conform to that view. And to an extent, I used humor to sort of laugh my way through it. So that's a way of getting friendly with your fear as well. The fear never goes away, but then that's okay. That's not the point. I think courage is continuing in spite of the fear.
Yasmin, you wanted to make a point before I stopped you. Yes.
Yes. I said the fear is basically, I think this is one disease where the fear of death comes up the first, that this is the one you're going to die. Especially like she said, Google it. I was also told, Google it means you're gone. So, internet is so once you...
A combination of internet and watching Rajesh Khanna and Anand. That is a deadly combination. Don't do either.
Yeah.
Don't do either, but go ahead.
So if you overcome the fear of death today, after the second time, I got it twice. So second time, there's no fear of death. The first time, like you say, fear was there. Okay, you know, you're still coming to terms. But when it came back the second time, I said, okay, bring it on. Third time, fourth time, I'm ready.
Not bad.
So who's here to live forever? So each day you add value and live life, that's much better than living in fear. So the second time made me more courageous.
Ritu, we can today laugh and smile about it. Is there a community, a growing bonding within those who are cancer survivors? I know India Cancer Society does a lot of work. There are cancer survivor societies that have emerged. Is there a bonding within the community also? And is there enough sharing of information, of personal experiences that takes place, which perhaps will strengthen others when they face it tomorrow? Even in small towns of India, rural parts, I've often wondered whether there is enough sharing done, which should be done in smaller towns, in rural India. You know, a campaign like this perhaps there can have an even more dramatic impact, hopefully.
That is very much required because my work is rural. I have conducted some 750 workshops across country. I traveled, I have driven more than 1 lakh kilometers. I have tracked Siachen Glacier. In metros and cities, there is still a reasonably openness about the disease and the side effects and all. But in rural, people still shy away, even in certain parts in urban, this thing.
Did you ever feel pity? Did anyone pity, you know, Lisa Ray, beautiful woman out there, model films? Oh, she's got cancer. Did they ever say that?
I'm sure they did. They
didn't say it in front of you.
They didn't say it in front of my face because that would have gotten them into trouble because it never occurred to me. That's the way that I have to describe it. And I think that we have a real chance now in India because the film industry, of course, is finally evolving at such a pace that we're telling more interesting, smaller stories and in different ways. And there's a new generation of filmmakers who are not afraid of shying away of these previously taboo subjects. And I think something like cancer is well primed to have a great story put out there that, you know, tells the whole story and is still at the same time entertaining. It's not even about preaching to someone because, you know, cancer is the whole package. It's really about a very, very deeply human experience, and there are going to be periods of lows and highs and you know, and black humor, that's for sure.
That's the point that, you know, we're looking at. We need to bridge these divides. There's the gender divide that exists in the country, whether we like it or not. You know, it is there. You know, there is the rural-urban divide, and cancer needs to bridge all those divides. You know, it needs to break the gender divide. It needs to break the rural-urban geographical divide. Do you see that happening? Do you see us, compared to when you had cancer in 2002? 2000, I think, in your case.
I had in 2000.
2000. Do you believe that today, if someone is detected with cancer, does he or she have a better chance of fighting back than they had even 15 years ago? Is that clear? That we are on an upward trend in that sense, in being able to fight back, in society being more, you know, society being able to come to terms with it better?
In urban setup, yes.
You still
even
make
in
that
bigger
distinction?
cities, yes. But because I travel, I really travel cross-country.
In rural areas, is there what? People suffer from the stigma? Do they feel ostracized?
There are many challenges. One is the awareness is not there. And as we were talking about the CSR, a lot of money is pumped into treatment and researchers. But awareness and preventive part is a little unglamorous part of the you can say monetarily.
You know, that's interesting because, you know, like the figures show that, Yasmin, 70% of the cases in India, people die because it's not detected in year 1. So awareness is critical. And do you get a sense that awareness is growing, or is it not growing fast enough?
It's growing definitely in urban. I've come from Calcutta, so it's not like Delhi and Bombay. We are a little more, you know, behind, I feel, because a lot of people, my mother passed away from brain cancer, so we had taken her to Bombay, Tata Medical, and I did not want to uproot the family. I accepted and I stayed on in Calcutta for treatment.
Why did you do it in Calcutta? Were you not convinced about the medical facilities in Calcutta?
No, I wasn't. The oncologists in Calcutta, everyone told me I should go out of Calcutta. Either I should go to CMC Vellore or I should go to Tata Medical. But I saw what it did to my mother, uprooting, and she didn't survive more than 6 months. And it was not worth it. making the family go through the whole thing again. So I didn't want to do that. It was a conscious choice not to uproot everybody and take them to Tata Medical Bombay. And the oncologist that I got, I was very lucky. He came to Calcutta. He was from Tata Medical Bombay. So I was very lucky. It was a blessing. So I was good.
So he came to you?
No, he was posted there.
Okay, great.
So I was good with that. But now I also travel, not as much as her, of course, to give talks and spread awareness in Northeast, because I grew up in the tea estates of Assam. And when I go to Nagaland, Mizoram, where there's so much of cancer, the awareness, and you know, the people, they don't want to come out with it, and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to manage their cancer, the side effects, how to remove, nothing. They just basically, they only help with some NGOs who give them some money to do their treatment. That's it, nothing more.
I'm going to conclude by extracting a promise out of Mr. Chutani. You've done a wonderful advertising campaign. You know, it's edgy, it's powerful, it's sending out strong message. You've got to now work to do a cancer prevention and awareness center. Come on. Yeah, you're going to go and tell your boss that that's the next step that we're going to do as part of this commitment.
Yeah, I think with Dabur CSR initiatives, this will become one of the big objectives going forward.
Okay, that's as close a promise that you can get from a corporate CEO on a public platform.
I'm going to send a proposal for another All India drive of mine to you soon.
Wonderful. We'll extract as much as we can out of him on this program while he's on air. But thank you very much. It's been wonderful talking to all of you. I think all of you are inspiring. All of you, in a sense, give us a sense of hope. Thank you very much for setting the stage for this evening. Thank you.